Nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal. Nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. Now, this is a powerful quote from W.W. Zeech. But how do you make sure that you have the right mental attitude when you don't have the amount of students that you want? You've got bills to pay and expectations from others waiting for you to be successful. Well, this is exactly what we are going to cover in this video. So habit number 4 of the 10 habits is to have positive thinking for business success. And this is more than just being optimistic, you guys, because optimistic people see everything on the bright side, right? You just need to see the bright side of your business. Why? Well, it's going to help you keep going when you're not getting the results that you want. Most of us were not taught how to be positive or how to build it as a habit. It just seemed to be a trait that we kind of inherited from the adults in our life. But did you know that there are 3 specific actions that you can do to build positivity into your day? My name's Joanne Kaminski, and when I got started, I had just left my teaching job and had 3 young girls. 2 had just started school and 1 was 3. We were building a pool in our backyard, which was a $40,000 commitment. I felt cornered with the thought of leaving my job because we had this big financial burden upon us. We were refinancing our home and taking out a loan to pay for it. Now, this is the complete opposite advice that Dave Ramsey would suggest. When I told my husband about my plans to not return to school, he highly suggested that I sign something that said that I was taking a 1-year leave of absence. And I did this to appease him, but I knew I would never be returning. I was unhappy with my job. And while there was stress involved with staying, there was also stress with leaving. I thought, how are we going to pay our bills without my income? And when you're going through something in the present time, it seems really big. And I put a lot of undue stress on myself. I started practicing the following things that I'm going to be talking about to stay positive amongst what seemed like at that time chaos. So no matter where you currently are, what your financial burdens are, or the level of support that you have from others, I want you to know there is a community of tutors that will support you. Of course, when you're ready and in your own time. Now, the first habit to building positivity is to start with gratitude. Think of 5 things each day that you can be grateful for the moment that you wake up. Now, when I first began doing this, I found myself repeating the same 5 things over and over again. So I made a point that I could not repeat something that I had already mentioned. I found myself not only being grateful first thing in the morning, but it would kind of grow throughout the day. I'd noticed something, and then I'd mention to myself how grateful I was for it. It could be the sweet giggle pouring out of my daughter's mouth, or the beautiful sunrise that I got to witness because I was waking up early to do what I loved. I felt an overall peace in all of my decisions, and for the first time, I felt like while I was temporarily lost, I was okay with it. Brian Tracy says, develop an attitude of gratitude and give thanks for everything that happens to you, knowing that every step forward is a step toward achieving something bigger and better than your current situation. Now, there are many ways that you can practice gratitude. You could just say the things that you're grateful for inside of your head. Or if you like to write things down, then you can start a gratitude journal. Both ways work. If at any point you find yourself slipping towards negative thoughts, you have the power to stop them, be in control of them, and think of something that you are grateful for, even in that moment. And this leads us to positive affirmations. These are statements that you can use to combat against negative thoughts and overcome self-sabotaging tendencies. For example, one might say in the beginning, I have no idea how to get students for my online tutoring business. Well, you can change that to, I'm learning more and more about getting students every day. Or, more and more people are learning about my online tutoring business every day. Another self-sabotaging thought is when tutors say, I'm never going to be able to make enough money to turn this into a sustainable business. Instead, you can turn the thought around and say, I am charging more for my services and people don't mind paying it because I get results for their child. Now, many people have a hard time coming up with positive affirmations in the beginning. So start with the negative things you hear yourself saying. Identify it as a sabotaging or limiting belief and turn it around into something more positive. Another trick is to read some affirmations before you start your work in the morning. It may be your goal stated in the positive, like you already have accomplished it. You might say, I'm so grateful to have 25 students to work with online. Now, some people say, but I don't have 25 students. Aren't I lying to myself? No, because you can visualize those students. But if this doesn't seem to work for you, then you can say more and more people are learning about my business every day. Now, here are some positive affirmations that you can say before you start taking actions on your business. I believe in myself and trust in my abilities to succeed in all I do. Many people don't believe in themselves. They use their past mistakes to determine their future failure. My business is a huge success. Hey, if you can't see your own business as a huge success, who can? Start seeing it as successful, and you're going to begin to take actions that will attract success. And then you're going to be happily surprised when you achieve that success. Success, money, and happiness come easily to me. What a powerful affirmation. A lot of tutors feel that it's not possible to have money, success, as well as happiness. Well, I'm here to tell you, you can. The only things that are going to stop you is this limiting belief. If you ever find yourself saying, I don't teach or tutor for the money, which is a limiting belief, then replace it with success, money, and happiness come easily to me. I'm smart and successful. You are. People message me and they say, oh, but Joanne, I'm not a credentialed teacher. No one will want to pay me to tutor their child. Well, there's a reason that you're being called into this field, and that gut feeling must be listened to. And I think that some people don't think that they're smart enough. But I want you to know that you are enough. You just need to start believing it. I create wonderful business opportunities. So start repeating this affirmation, start believing it, and just watch as opportunities start to show up for you. You're going to be able to connect with influencers, network with other tutors, and build positive relationships with teachers. As I become more and more successful, I help more and more people. I love this affirmation, you guys. A lot of people, they have this often hidden belief that it is in some way a bad thing to be successful, or it makes a bad person in some way. Instead, try focusing on being able to help more people as your tutoring business becomes more and more successful. I am passionate about my business, and that shows in everything I do. When your passion for your business shines out of you in everything that you do, people notice. You attract all the right people. It's miraculous. And this is a really powerful, good, feel-good affirmation. And the chances are it's one of the easiest that you can believe. I easily attract my ideal students. Now get super clear about who your ideal client is and focus on this as you repeat this affirmation. And whenever your ideal student shows up, repeat the affirmation. And at the start of each day, repeat it. Now, Sharon, who joined my reading interventionist course, was doing an activity where she needed to practice giving the free assessment so that she could become certified. And she posted in one of her Facebook mom groups that she's taking this class and needed to do an assessment. So she got 26 people who responded to her, and 11 moved forward with setting up an assessment. And she is going to turn most of these into students because she put herself out there and is attracting her ideal students. I am thankful for all the opportunities that come my way. When opportunities come your way, it's important to acknowledge them, even if you're not quite what you want, and turn them down. This affirmation is going to help you to be a match to attract more and more opportunities. As each opportunity shows up, clarify what kind of opportunities you want to show up. I am thankful for each and every person who has contributed to the success of my business. A person never becomes successful solely on their own. I know in my own business, so many people have helped me along the way. People have supported me, taught me, bought for me, hired me, just been there for me when I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And this is really nice. And this is a really powerful affirmation to fill your mind with. I know some of you are thinking, but Joanne, this just comes natural to you. I can't do this. Hey, it never came natural to me, and you can do this. What positive affirmations resonate most for you? Comment below. Also, while you're there, if you like this video, please hit like, subscribe, and that little bell. Your comments are kind of like my tip jar. So anytime that you leave a comment, it shows YouTube that this is a good, positive video that other people should watch. So thank you for helping me in my mission. Now, another way to build positivity into your day is to listen to this YouTube channel. You're going to hear success stories of other people just like you who started with 0 students and have booked their online tutoring businesses solid. You can also listen to podcasts, read books, or listen to audiobooks. Some of my favorite books are Positive Mindset Habits for Teachers, The Power of Positive Thinking, The 10 Times Rule, Crushing It, and Think and Grow Rich. Positive Mindset Habits for Teachers is by Grace Stevens. And in this book, you get to learn 10 steps to reduce stress, increase student engagement, and reignite your passion for teaching. The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale is a classic that seriously never gets old. It should come as no surprise that The Power of Positive Thinking is a foundational book for fostering a positive mindset. His optimism of the power of the human spirit to overcome challenges and achieve success is evident throughout the whole book. The stories illustrate how the power of positive thinking is a key to achieving a state of happiness and success. And it certainly beats the alternative, right? I know a few people, if any, who have achieved a lasting happiness or success looking at life through a negative attitude. But people most importantly is that Peale's teachings, they help control that inner voice that talks to us all day long. You know, that voice that controls and determines our mood, our actions, and our overall outlook. The more we can train and control our inner voice, the better the chance at achieving the outcomes we deserve. The 10 Times Rule by Grant Cardone is incredible, and here's some of the nuggets I took. Extremely successful people know that their efforts must continue in order for them to realize new achievements. Once the hunt, object, or goal is abandoned, the cycle of success comes to an end. When people start limiting the amount of success they desire, I assure you they limit what will be required of them in order to achieve success and will fail miserably at doing what it takes to keep it. You must set targets that are 10 times what you think you want and then do 10 times what you think it will take to accomplish those targets. Massive thoughts must be followed by massive actions. 10 times the thoughts and 10 times the action of other people. The 10 Times Rule is pure domination mentality. The 10 Times Rule assumes the target is never the problem. Any target attacked with the right actions and the right amounts with persistence is attainable. No one can keep up with me. I'm not going away. I am the competitor. I am the space. I suggest that you become obsessed about the things that you want. Otherwise, you are going to spend a lifetime being obsessed with making up excuses as to why you don't get the life that you wanted. Over that year and a half, he says he published 3 books. He introduced 4 new sales programs. He produced more than 700 segments of training material for virtual training sites. He did 600 radio interviews, wrote more than 150 articles and blog entries, and made thousands of personal phone calls. While the rest of the world withdrew, he expanded in every single way, which is awesome. So you want to leave a footprint over the entire world. In your community, in your neighborhood, in the local politics, you have to attend, be seen at events, write in a local paper, get connected with the players in your community, and once involved, do everything possible to stay active. Have people see you, read you, hear you, and think about you. Say yes to every opportunity to get your word out there. Write about it, talk about it, give lectures on what you do, and even bark on the street corners, he says, if you have to. Commit to omnipresence. The most successful people he says he knows read everything they can get their hands on. They approach a $30 book as though it has the potential to make them $1 million. Big thinking, massive actions, expansion, and risk-taking are necessary for your survival and future growth. Staying small and quiet are just ways to continue being small and quiet. Keep thinking this way, and sometime in the very near future, no one will be able to see you, hear you, or even know that you didn't exist before. Now, Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk is his take on the social media. He discusses the current social media, their platforms, and even upcoming platforms, which is pretty fascinating. If you have no social media experience before reading this book and then took Gary's words and implemented them into your marketing strategy, you'd have massive success in the social media space just by reading this one book. Now, there are 2 parts to the book. The first one is Pumped, and the second one is Create Your Pillar. So in part 1, he discusses that anyone can achieve success on social media, but it all comes down to one constant: mindset. Everyone has something they're passionate about. So he discusses how you can turn your passion into money and then use that on social media. Part 2 is about the platforms. So the platforms that are discussed are Musical.ly, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, podcasts, voice first. For each platform, he gives his thoughts about the platform and also gives examples of what kind of content he would post for each individual platform. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is that book that is like the tip of the iceberg that makes us aware of the power of your thoughts, the potential we have within ourselves to redirect our thinking and actions in order to change our circumstances. Hill's personal proof of these concepts was derived through comparative observation of the successful to the unsuccessful people he'd been exposed to over the years, starting with Andrew Carnegie. So Hill often writes Carnegie quotes in there because he was the man who inspired Hill to dedicate much of his life to exploring and communicating the concepts of how managing our thoughts and energy can be life-changing. So the following are 3 themes in the book that most resonate with me. 1, the power of thought. 2, the power of the subconscious. And 3, the power of purpose. So number 1, the power of thought. We are what we think. Our thoughts affect how we see the world and how we see ourselves. As a result, our thoughts have a great deal of impact on how we feel and on how much energy we have to deal with a required action or situation. Our thoughts can also make us more or less observant of the things, circumstances, and people around us. In short, our thoughts affect our behavior, and our behavior affects how we respond, how the world responds to us. He extends this to the material world. Thoughts equal things. And number 2, the power of the subconscious. Where do you get your best ideas? I can almost guarantee you that it's not while you're at work. We usually get our best ideas when we're not consciously thinking about the problem we're trying to solve or the idea we're trying to come up with. Those eureka moments hardly ever occur while we're working hard, but rather when we're hardly working. Unfortunately, our way of life seems to invite us to ignore both the power of the subconscious and the breathing room we need to give it. In order to feed our subconscious, we need to give it the raw materials it needs to work through, including a clear picture of what problem or opportunity we're trying to address. Little to no time pressure and no attention whatsoever as it does its work. When we're busy working long hours, multitasking, and burying ourselves in endless to-do lists, we lose that connection to our subconscious. When we take the time to rest, play, engage in conversation with others, including mastermind groups, learn from and about the experiences of others, we make room for the powerful subconscious to do its magic work. The magic? To make connections to ideas that offer solutions we could never have come up with consciously. You cannot entirely control your subconscious mind, but you can voluntarily hand over to it any plan, desire, or purpose which you wish to be transformed. And then there's the power of purpose deep down. We know that what we want to accomplish in the long term, and it might not be crystal clear, but we've got a good idea and direction of what we want to pursue. Unfortunately, rationalization, self-justification, avoidance, fear, and doubt leads us to second guess it or explain it away to our peril. People who do not succeed have one distinguishing trait in common. They know the reasons for failure and have what they believe to be airtight alibis to explain away their own lack of achievement. When we focus on what we need to do, we can more easily establish an action plan and forge ahead. We feel driven, alive, and passionate. We have the energy to invest in ourselves and others. We have the energy to grow as a person. We learn that we need to know what to be successful. We ignore the naysayers and the objectors. We're curious and engaged. So purpose as a guide equals a fulfilling life. So guess what, guys? I dare you today to be positive. Write down your affirmations, read a book, and be grateful. Now, next week, we're going to dive into habit number 5, which is to take 5 actions before 11. We're going to focus on what constitutes right action and time-wasting activities so that you can get the results that you want in your business.